Well, hello, Dr. Kleinsmith. Um,
Hello, Kathy.
I was wondering, we have a lot of people that are wondering what colostrum is, and if you could possibly just explain a little bit about yourself and your company.
Okay. Well, a little bit about me. That's the easiest place to start. I grew up on a small dairy farm, milking 7 cows morning and night by hand. My brother and I. If you've ever done that, bucking hay and straw and shoveling shine, as we used to call it, maybe we didn't call it that, but a cleaner version. And that was my first introduction to colostrum. At least back then, we didn't call it colostrum. We actually called it first milk. I started my first business when I was probably 8 years old. We had a bunch of large dairy farmers around us, and I went out to the dairy farmers and figured out that I could buy day-old bull calves um, that they basically back then, remember this is 40 years ago, 40 plus years ago, that bull calves for a dairy farmer, they were kind of a hindrance. So I would go to the dairy farmers, buy them for, I think the most I ever paid was $15. But I would pick them up on a regular basis for about $5 a head, and we would give them this first milk and a little concoction that my dad used on his farm in South Dakota, which was 2 eggs with the shell. And if you know anything about eggs, that's kind of like colostrum for a chicken in a way. But 2 eggs and a shot of whiskey, and we kept about 85% of those calves, and I raised them. I got to the point where during the school year, I paid somebody to manage them for me, and then during the school, obviously, I went to a private Catholic school back east. And when I would come home, I'd work the farm and do the things that it needed to have done and sell the calves off at auction. Well, that first milk, today we know as colostrum, literally would take these little baby calves that their little heads were just on the ground, their tongues lolling out, eyes rolled back, and you feed that first milk to them, and within a half an hour, 45 minutes, if they were going to respond, it was just like a blossoming. It was like this eruption, because if you've never watched a baby calf or a colt, in your case, because you deal with horses, and they just prance, they dance around and buck, and just it's fun. Well, from there, I went to school and I got hired after getting my finance degree by a group of doctors out of Palm Springs, California, that were dealing with the Palm Springs Life Extension Institute. We dealt with injectable, synthetically created HGH. I was their research and marketing director. One of the large talk show hosts, TV talk show hosts, as MS, came to us and said, if you put together a book, we'll bring you on the show and we'll just explode you. Well, whenever I've been commissioned to do a book, I like to do a little history of where we were and where we're going. And the history of the synthetic form of HGH, human growth hormone, which is comprised of IGF-1 and growth hormone only, came from some research groups out of the United States and Australia who managed to isolate from colostrum those two growth factors, IGF-1 and growth hormone, synthesize them using DNA recombinant technology, and boom, we created a multi-billion-dollar industry called anti-aging. Well, I got very excited. This was late 80s, early 90s. I went back to the doctors and said, guys, we can sell colostrum. Now, we were in the Robb Report. I mean, we were interviewed on NBC, ABC. We were everywhere. We were turning away approximately 100 to 150 people a day because they just couldn't afford the therapy back then. On an individual basis, it was $30,000 cash up front. For a couple, we gave you a break, and it was $50,000. So you can imagine we dealt with the very upper end of folks that wanted the health benefits that anti-aging, especially growth factors, brought. Well, the doctors, when I got excited and went to them, I says, listen, we can get colostrum, because back then we only knew about 7 or 8 of the growth factors. Today, especially with all the research out of Cornell and Harvard and UCLA and others, we know that the entire IGF-1 superfamily is found there. Well, back then, they came back to me and said, if you get involved with that, we'll terminate our relationship. I said, why? I said, we are losing thousands of dollars because we couldn't do anything with this substance. They said, we know about the 7 or 8 growth factors in colostrum, but we don't want the pinto people, the lower class, coming to our prestigious clinic here in Palm Springs. I had a Ford Pinto when I was growing up, and I quit. I started grabbing different colostrums from literally all over the world, sending them off to Cornell University, and through some relationships there, got connected with Dr. Donald Lyon. And after all of the testing that was done, we finally got together and started talking. We even did some videos together, but we started talking. He says, what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for the very best to start with, the best platform, so that I can improve upon it through nutritional indoctrination of the herds, through DVM indoctrination of the herds, all kinds of different things. I wanted to start here and then broaden it to make it better. If you have a healthier cow, you're going to have not only a healthier output of milk, but you're going to have a much healthier output of colostrum, kind of a byproduct. Well, that's what led me into colostrum. We found the right group to work with, and from there, we've never looked back. I've only used one group to work with, and we've always looked for ways to improve the health of that cow, because that's the basis for having such quality that we do have. Well, I put up my first book with Dr. Lance Wright. I think it was in 1998. There's a new book coming, and we have a very popular, very well-known person who is putting the forward together. And just to give you a little hint, he was cured, his words, not mine, cured of Lyme's disease. So there's a little teaser for you. We started into the manufacturing side of things and started looking at how do we take this substance, it's very sticky, how do we take this substance and put it through the machinery so that we don't have to use excipients and flow agents and all the other, junk that a lot of manufacturers put in. Well, growing up on the farm as I did, if you broke something, which if you grew up on a farm, you have a tendency to go play on the tractors and do the things that kids will do. I got myself in a lot of trouble breaking our equipment, and then I also learned that I didn't get tanned if I fixed it, so I became very ingenious that way in putting things back together. So we created different parts for our encapsulating side of things so that we didn't have to use excipients or flow agents. What is colostrum, though? What is this sticky substance that we're talking about? It is a pre-milk fluid that every mammalian mother produces prior to birth. Now, there's a big difference between colostrum from a human mother and colostrum from bovine. Colostrum from a bovine source is genetically almost identical to what a human mother produces, but it is about anywhere from 100 to 1,000 times more potent in its different constituents. Why? Well, while you and I are in the womb, while we're in mom's tummy, through the placenta, there's what's called passive transfer. It's where through generations of immune factors and growth factors and all the goodies being passed down, our moms pass through that placenta to us while we're still in the womb. A lot of the goodies, a lot of our immune factors, growth factors, essential factors, all the building blocks. Well, we know that a human mother will produce colostrum within the breast, within the mammary gland itself. And because of this passive transfer, we know that when we're born, we get a jump start on 40 to 50 different processes, not just for the newborn, but for us as we get older as well. We know that age-related diseases are much higher statistically in those folks that weren't breastfed and didn't get colostrum than those that were. Well, a bovine mother now is very unique because so many people out there look at it and say, well, isn't all colostrum the same? The answer is absolutely no. Bovine mothers produce it one time only. Where a human mother can produce it over and over and over again, a bovine mother produces it one time. She doesn't even produce it in the mammary gland. She produces it 4 to 6 weeks prior to birth. 4 to 6 weeks prior. It's built within the body, And when the release of the mucus plug happens, when you're getting ready to birth, that colostrum then is moved down into the mammary gland, okay, where lactose or milk is produced, and it's held there, kind of like a holding tank, for anywhere from about 6 to 8 hours. After that, that mother literally absorbs it for her own benefit, and she doesn't produce any more until the next birthing. Well, that baby calf does not have any passive transfer. So it's extremely important to get that baby calf at least 2 quarts. All the research shows 2 quarts is where their break-off point is, and then they're fine. They're fully functional. They're off to the races and doing well physically and in a healthy way. We then take the remainder of that. And that's where we not only take the true colostrum, but then we also go through all of the different testing modalities that we do. We test it 5 different times. The first time is at the farm level. We want to make sure that the farmers are following our guidelines on what we're looking for, making sure there are no antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides, anything of that nature. We're clean. That's test number 1. Test number 2. We don't just take it from a single cow. Remember, we pull colostrum from literally thousands of farms that may range in herd size of 350 on the low side to as much as 5,000 plus on the large side. And when you pull all of those together, you want to make sure that they're all clean. So we test once we batch them, meaning we put it all together. All right. The third time that we test is after it's gone through the spray drying process. Think about it literally like a funnel. You put it at the liquid at the top, and then when it comes out the bottom, it's powder. So we take all of the moisture. We leave probably anywhere from about 3 to 6% in, but pretty much that's it. That's all we do is we remove the moisture, and we have 100% colostrum at that point. Now, the fourth test, we put it in different things. Because colostrum is that diamond in the rough, the growth factors are at the top, the immune factors are at the bottom. You have the essential factors on one side. You have what I call the basics, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and the metabolic factors on one side. Well, we put that in different formulations. So the fourth testing is the testing of those formulas. The fifth test, and that's the one that we really release to the general population base out there, is kind of unique. I don't know of any other company that does this. That is where we will ask a third party to go out into the world someplace, find our colostrum, immune tree colostrum, buy it literally off the shelf, test it, send us the results. That's what we release to the population base. Why? I tell people all the time, don't trust me and don't trust them. Ask for third-party validation. If they can't or won't provide it, gosh, run away. People work too bloody hard today to earn their dollar, and people are worried about their health. You're taking and putting both of those at risk with companies that won't take the time or spend the money to do the testing or validation. We do. So that's colostrum in a nutshell, pre-milk fluid that every mammalian mother produces. Now, it has over 700 different constituents. And if you take a diamond in the rough, so to speak, okay, think about this piece of paper as a diamond. And up here you have your growth factors. Down here, your immune factors. On this side, you have your essential factors. Now, let me go into the essentials just a little bit. The essential factors on the side are things that our bodies don't produce. You have to bring them from the outside in, typically through our foods. Well, pretty much everybody knows that our foods are not as nutritionally sound as we would like them to be, and our bodies don't produce those essential factors. Things like essential fatty acids, essential amino acids. Essential glyconutrients, which are kind of essential sugars. They literally are the master cell-to-cell communicators. They tell our cells what, when, where, why, and how to do something. Well, then you have the metabolic factors and the basics. And I get the question all the time of, Do I need to have a multivitamin if I'm taking a standard dosing of colostrum? The answer would be not necessarily. No, you don't. Because one of our FPL laboratories did a very nice. We're about to do another testing for everybody out there, but FPL laboratories, food processing laboratories out of the Northwest, did a very nice breakdown, and it shows just on 2 capsules how much of these different factors that you're getting. It doesn't go into everything because that testing structure would cost more than the company's worth because it has so many things in it. But you take that diamond and you start turning it. You say, we want to focus on anti-aging. That's where the growth factors come in. You focus on, we want to look at autoimmune situations, things like diabetes and Alzheimer's and heart disease and arthritis. And, we just, we're being written up this month. It'll be out for this next month, but we're being written up for allergies and asthma. All of these different things can be benefited by taking colostrum. There are factors within colostrum, not just the growth factors, but you have the immune factors down here. One in particular, proline-rich polypeptides. You're going to hear more and more about this, and I'll guarantee, because the human clinical trials that are being done are just phenomenal. They've done human clinical trials with Alzheimer's, slowing and reversing of that disease has been shown. 3 times more effective than the flu for those folks that go and get the flu shot every year. You have diabetes, heart disease. I love that one because the growth factors have been shown to regenerate dead and dying heart tissue. The nice thing about colostrum is you not only have not just 1 or 2 of those growth factors, you have the entire superfamily that's there. So you have these metabolic factors that you take this little diamond in the rough and you say, what about, I'll use the common term, weight loss. I like to use inch loss because if I take, and I love this, let me grab something and show you what I mean by the differences between weight loss and inch loss. What I have before me, see this thing right here? That is fat. That is what it would look like if you were to cut it off of just about any mammal out there. Now, here is what you would commonly refer to as lean muscle. Now, I don't know if you can zoom in on this, but it says 5 pounds here. And that 5 pounds is the equivalent of that. These weigh the exact same amount. There's 5 pounds. What would you rather have, though, around your hips, your thighs, your buttocks, any area, your midsection? What would you rather have? I got to tell you, I look at this one and say, you know what? If I can take and put this back onto your body, you can eat more calories. You're going to burn them. You can go out and have fun. You look better. You feel better. There's a long list of benefits that come with increasing your underlying lean muscle. Now, I'm not talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger where he's all big and everything. I'm talking about that nice lean look. But does that mean that if you are looking for that Arnold Schwarzenegger look, can you get it from colostrum? Oh, absolutely. There's a gentleman by the name of Blake Miller. He placed several times, and he's now back into going and competing at the Ronnie Coleman Classic. And it's kind of fun because he got on our colostrum, and remember our little diamond, because I turned it and said, what about fitness buffs? What can we do there? The colostrum we know is more anabolic than steroids. You get 2,300 nanograms per gram, which isn't a whole lot. Think about it this way. 1 gram of our colostrum is 2 of our capsules. A half of a teaspoon is 3 of our capsules, approximate. But you're getting a ton of naturally occurring whole food type growth factors that do a body good. Blake Miller just did and we're about to release it, just did a video for us because he is in love with our products. So we took the colostrum and we turned it just a little, and we created another product called Flex 6. It's a fitness formula. Do you have to be at the top of the game? No. I've helped Ron Williams come out of retirement. He retired, I believe, when he was 40 years old. Came out of retirement at age 46 to win Mr. Natural Universe. Unbelievable results. Blake Miller is another one that's just coming on board. We have movie stars. We have a lot of celebrities that come on board with us because the products work. The nice thing about it, going back to Cornell, we did a few years ago, Dr. Donald Lyon, he was at the time the head of the endocrinology veterinary diagnostics lab there, took all the colostrums around the world, tested them at Cornell and other places, and put out a letter on Cornell letterhead. Now, they don't ever endorse. This is not an endorsement letter. I want to make sure that's understood up front. But what it does say is that Anthony Kleinsmith's colostrum is the only one that tested as true colostrum. All others, whether it be New Zealand, the United States, wherever they came from, tested as transitional milk. Are you going to get the same kinds of benefits from transitional milk? A little bit of colostrum, a lot of lactose? No, you're not. This year, 2012, 4,000 people voted for 5 different companies. We took 89.33% of that vote. That's huge. What that tells you is you've got a product that works. We get written up every single month on different issues that true colostrum can have a major, major benefit to that individual who's suffering from those different situations. It's not a miracle. It's not a cure-all. It is simply a whole food. It's one of the best whole foods out there for just about everything. And here's what I mean by that. We all know about vitamin C. Very good for you. If you get a little cold, people like to megadose and go, see, I'm taking more vitamin C because it's helping me. No, it's not. Your body's only going to receive and uptake just about 10% of it. The rest of it, you excrete out. You literally flush it down the toilet. Colostrum, though, has a 98.7% uptake into the system. It's one of the few products that actually cross the blood-brain barrier. And if you are going through situations where you have an underactive immune system, it helps to modulate it up. If you have an overactive immune system, it helps to modulate it down. If you're looking to lose inches, it'll help you do that. If you're looking to gain muscle mass, oh, good Lord, it'll help you do that as well. If you're looking to stay youthful and young, it's going to help you do that. Colostrum, then, if you looked at it in this fashion, it's not a cure-all, but it's a whole food with so many different properties that work on a depleted system. And as we age, we all deplete. Let me give you an example. When you're first born, and you have the little baby in your hand, and here's their head and here's their bottom. Their chest is about the size of my fist. The largest organ in their chest cavity, it's not their lungs, it's not their heart. It's a little gland called the thymus gland. And that little thymus gland is literally the seat of our immune system. It directs what happens here, what happens there. It directs cancer cells to be killed off by apoptosis, all kinds of things. It directs the immune response to different allergens in the air, pathogens out there that we get exposed to, bacteria, fungus, just all kinds of little things. As we get older, because of environmental factors, because of genetics, because of poor diets, lack of sleep, lack of exercise, all kinds of different parameters, it begins to take and shrink down from the size of a small navel orange to, by the time you are 45, a little bit younger than me, it's shrunk down to the size of a pea. By the time you're 55, it's just a little strand of tissue with interconnected fat, no longer functional. Cornell University did some testing on some folks. And what they found were there are 3 things within colostrum. IGF-1, literally insulin-like growth factor 1. They call it the IGF-1 superfamily. IGF-1 acts as the captain of our ship. It has a direct effect on every cell and every system in your body. IGF-1, thymosin alpha, and thymosin beta, or thymulin. Those three factors found in colostrum were shown at Cornell University to regrow that thymus gland to a normal functional state. Kind of interesting. Now, when I say this, we're not practicing medicine, but we want to make sure that you understand if you're reaching out to a true colostrum, you've latched on to a tiger by the tail. And it can do some amazing things for you. It's not a cure-all, but it can definitely help put you into a more balanced state. And that's what we're all looking for.
What about, is it any good for if you have for burn victims or ulceric, people that get ulcers on their legs, for healing cuts and abrasions and things like this?
Oh, there's a little substance called TB4, thymosin beta 4, naturally occurring, 600 UG in our colostrum. And if you get any kind of cuts, burns, scrapes, anything of that nature, if you've gone through surgeries, I can tell you from my own personal story. I've gone through, when I was 28 years old, I used to be kind of an extreme individual. I was an extreme skier. Took a 20-foot cliff, folded my leg. If you want a visual of that, sit on your bum and take your foot, the top of your foot, and put it right here on your shoulder. I've had 3.5 inches of taken out of the left hip, put into that knee, cadaver grafts in that knee, my own hamstrings into that knee. They told me at age 28, because I did so much damage, that by the time I was 35, they'd have to replace the knee joint. At 28, you still think you can almost walk on water. So I wasn't real hip on that. I was going through and writing the book at about that time, and I started megadosing on colostrum. It regrew, for me, it regrew the meniscus in my knee. I have no pain. I have no, even the scar. You can see where they've cut me so many times because it's wide, but it's not thick. It didn't build up a thick keloid. And we've helped Andrew Bennett. We've helped Winthrop Graham. We've helped a whole lot of other folks who've gone through similar situations. One gentleman, John Krug, you can actually watch his video on our website with, I believe he started out with diabetes, heart disease, started out within Crohn's, moved up to diverticulitis. They took out his colon. They gave him a 3% chance of living in the hospital. He was in the hospital for over a year. His girlfriend was sneaking the product in and putting it on the wound. It healed faster. The doctor said, "We know something's going on. Fess up." And she did. Got out of the hospital because the open wound from stem to stern healed up on a colostomy bag. A year later, he goes in for a hernia operation. Asked the physician, "Is there any way to get off of this colostomy bag? It's really disruptive in his life." And because of the colostrum, before he left the hospital, he said, "No, you're stuck with it. You're done." They went in, hooked him up. He's now 2 years out of the hospital, I believe, and fully functional on his own. We get videos and testimonials from folks on all sorts of things. You can see bleeding ulcerative colitis, where the gentleman over in England, Raj, said, he was a pharmacist, said, "I've tried everything. I've tried probiotics, I've tried everything, change of diet, everything. And the only thing that has really made that much of an improvement for him and literally started him on the road to where he's at today, which is living the life that he wants to live, is colostrum."
It's amazing. We have a lot of people out in our area. I believe you're in Utah, correct? And they're having an awful lot of problems with that fungal meningitis. Plus, now with the colder weather coming in, we don't have the mosquitoes we did, but there's a lot of people that are also then contracted triple E, West Nile, a lot of things would. So the colostrum, because it increases the immune system, could also help in those areas?
I would probably say yes. I know there's been research like on West Nile, SARS, flus, and even swine flu. The answer I would probably say, just based on the research that's out there, yes. Um, because, and remember, it doesn't just work on, it modulates the immune system. There's so many folks that, and everybody knows somebody like this, where you're in a crowd, somebody walks in, and they walk out, they got the cold the next day. They have a dysfunctional immune system because it's lower. You have everybody out there that has any kind of an autoimmune situation, asthma, bronchial issues, diabetes, lupus, Crohn's, just a host of other things, and how the immune response. Now, there's so much research on what it can do. There's a whole lot more to be done. Um, do I think that it can be taken in so many more different directions? Absolutely, yes.
Well, I know you're pressed for time and you have other meetings to get to. So I want to thank you, Dr. Kleinsmith, for joining us and, through Skype. I mean, with technology today, we wouldn't know what
And
to
it
do anymore. So I'd like to thank you and informing everyone that's, watching this and letting them know a little bit about colostrum and how it can help them with their health and weight loss issues and bodybuilding and hopefully sometime we'll be able to get together again and maybe have another little discussion.
very good. Hey, thank you, Kathy.
All right, thanks.
Bye bye.